Hey everyone, welcome to Crowd Culture and today's video. I had the pleasure of speaking to Brett and Sophie, aka the Climbing Nomads, a pair of YouTubers and climbing instructors who travel the UK and beyond in their van to get out and climb. We spoke about their love of climbing, how they've built a lifestyle around the sport, the ins and outs of van life, and more. In the description below are some links to their YouTube channel and also my own website, Crowd Culture, which has a transcription of the interview and some great photography shared by the pair of them. Feel free to check that out and enjoy the interview. First of all, could you tell the audience who may not be familiar who you guys are and what it is that you do?
So I'm Brett.
I'm Sophie.
So we run a YouTube channel called the Climbing Nomads, and we make videos about our own climbing adventures, and then we also do climbing tutorials and gear reviews, all just kind of based around climbing. And then when we're not doing the YouTube stuff, we're also qualified climbing and mountaineering instructors. So we run climbing courses, teaching other people how to climb, how to do the rope work and all that sort of stuff. I think that's kind of us.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
much it, yeah.
So we just travel around a lot and
Go climbing.
as much as we can.
Yeah, or teach climbing.
Or teach climbing.
When did each of you first get into climbing?
I was about 13, 14, and it was through my school. So they had like a climbing club, so I started climbing with them and then just continued through university and beyond.
I got into it fairly young. My dad was actually a Marine, so I think I was about 5 or something, and yeah, some of my earliest memories are being sort of dangled off cliffs and climbing mountains and abseiling off everything we could find and things. But so I've kind of been climbing as long as I can remember, in some form or another. Yeah.
At what point for each of you was it something that you thought you could possibly turn into a career or a lifestyle?
For me, it was when I was about 18, because the school that I was at, they had like an instructor program as well. So they did a whole outdoor ed program. And then when you got to year 11, you could become an instructor and teach the younger years. So I started doing that. And then when I got to 18, decided that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I went to university, did like a different course, but was always trying to work my way through my qualifications in the background and just do it that way. And then just carry on climbing as well.
Yeah, sort of pretty similar for me. I went to university, but I wanted to study something I was actually going to be interested in. So I actually did a degree in outdoor leadership, outdoor education, and yeah, kind of just worked through the qualifications and jobs at different outdoor centres and different companies, and yeah, I've not done many other jobs, so I guess it's kind of what
you've always done.
What I've
You've always done mountaineering, climbing.
What I've always done.
Yeah, I had a bit of a break and did my teacher training and became a teacher. Okay. So I had a little bit of a
You had a normal job for a while.
A secondary line of work for a little bit, but yeah.
So how did then the kind of climbing nomads and kind of committing to kind of YouTube, and how did that come about?
So we'd kind of reached a point where we were both working a lot.
Yeah, so I had a full-time job, 9 to 5 every day, and then a lot of weekend work was also taken up for doing trips and things. And Brett was still working, freelancing and running a company for climbing and mountaineering. And every spare opportunity we had, we were away at weekends or holiday time, just doing what we do now, basically. And I think it got to a stage where we decided to flip the lifestyle on its head.
Yeah, we just decided the work-life balance wasn't quite working. And we reversed some of that. I mean, the original YouTube thing, I think there were sort of lofty ambitions that we were going to be.
It's almost a curiosity in a way, I guess.
I think there were so many different bits, because there was, firstly, we thought, well, we might be able to make some income through this, which would allow us to travel more and then hopefully do some more climbing. That's turned out to be harder than we thought it was. Yeah. It's not a very good income. It doesn't really work as an income, but it's been a really fun process, learning how to make the videos, and it's kind of been a new challenge. So my life up until that point had been about chasing qualifications. It had been about getting the next level of qualification, about trying to get higher statuses, trying to establish the companies, and that kind of side of it. And I'd kind of reached as far as that was going to get, and I guess this was a new challenge to start.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, I think, that you say that, because did you feel that kind of committing to kind of, I guess, like van life, kind of living to a van after kind of following, you know, getting these qualifications and what maybe is a more kind of standard route, did you feel a bit of maybe societal pressure or anything about that? Did it feel...
No, I think we had the opposite. I think everybody else thought we were mad.
There was a lot of societal pressure to stay in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I was meaning. Yeah.
Almost going the other way. They were sort of going, aren't you getting too old to be going off in a van and going and doing that stuff? But
it kind of makes sense. Like,
it makes sense for us.
Yeah, the more we thought about it before doing it, the more it actually started to make sense, like logically and financially.
To be able to just go the places that we wanted to go to, and
not have all the overheads. So you cut down your living expenses, but then you don't have all your massive overheads either, like bills and rent.
Yeah.
So it made sense for you guys. Yeah. How would you define climbing for yourselves? A hobby, a lifestyle, a job, or kind
of... Probably all of it.
Yeah, I think climbing, certainly for me, is probably it's what my entire life revolves around. All of my work is based around climbing. My social time, nearly all of my friends are based from climbing. So it kind of, I guess, provides for me that central, I don't know if it's part of my identity or focus or...
I think, you identified as kind of like a climber before I did. I used to climb. I used to do instructing and be, working towards instructorship and things, but I didn't necessarily identify as a climber, I guess. I suppose now we both do, because it's quite all-consuming. You climb for a living, you climb for a hobby, and when you're not doing either of those, you're still climbing. Or you're training for climbing.
Or watching other people climb. I think it affects every aspect of our life in some way or another, really.
Kind of being part of the climbing community on YouTube, that's something that I've kind of noticed growing in the last couple of years quite a bit, really. Is that something you've found kind of quite a bit of community in?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, again, we've made friends through our YouTube videos, people which we wouldn't have got to know really otherwise. And we've got some great people that follow us who really regularly comment on the videos, and you do kind of build up a bit of a community through the videos and kind of share in the successes and failures. And the same on Instagram and things, with people that we follow. You kind of sharing in their journeys as well, and it's I feel I don't know. I feel more ingrained in the climbing community since we've been doing YouTube and the sort of related social media side of that.
Yeah, it's weird because I suppose you feel like you have a bit more of a voice as well. Like,
yeah,
you got to be we're quite careful sometimes in how we phrase things or what we're saying. Because you know that people are watching and could take it to heart or could take it as gospel or something.
So we always try and set a good example and sort of follow all the best practices and everything else as well.
Going back to the van and stuff, I'm curious as to what sacrifices there are that comes with living in the van.
Space,
yeah.
Space,
space is a premium.
Also weight, because we have to kind of keep the weight down in the van as well, because it can't go over a certain limit. So there's even more reason to buy like Alpine lightweight kit.
In fact, if we didn't do climbing, we'd have so much more space in the van. If we got rid of the bouldering pads,
if we were runners or something.
If we just did running kit, we'd have loads of room.
Space,
but I mean, space is a premium that affects it, but you also just have to be really, really aware of your logistics. If you living in a van is all about your sort of how much water have you got, how much gas have you got, how much food, and all of that kind of stuff, and you're continually monitoring it and trying to balance those out. In the house, you just sort of take for granted you can turn on the tap and get water, or you can plug things into a plug socket and get electricity. So it's actually,
it's quite amusing because we, if we go to a climbing centre or something, we take all of our electricals.
We spend as long sat next to a plug socket at the climbing wall as we do on climbing.
You become more opportunistic, I think, as a van, living in a van.
But it's definitely not a sort of carefree lifestyle, no stress or anything like that. In fact, it
can be more stressful, I think.
I think it's more stressful.
Just the living side of things. I mean, I know normal life has, far more stresses, but I think because water's at a premium, sometimes I find like a shower is a bit of a, we don't have as many showers. You can't just sort of wake up in the morning, have one, and then get a bit dirty and then have one in the evening, because then that would be all the water gone. We're a bit more frugal with water.
Again, climbing walls with showers are
the ones we go to.
The ones we go to. More climbing walls should have showers.
There's a climbing wall with a bath.
Well, something I was going to follow this up with, but you've kind of touched on it quite a lot, but it was going to be what advice would you have for anyone thinking of following in your footsteps and maybe committing to van life?
I'd say do all the research on it. Don't just sort of walk into it lightly and assume that it's going to be an easy transition, or you can just live that way easily. There's quite a lot of stuff which you might not initially think about, from just getting your post, or where you can fill up with water, what happens if you get sick. There's a lot of sort of factors that you do have to think about, and I'd say it's a bit more of a roller coaster. Like, the highs are really good when it's on a roll and everything's going great, you're in a brilliant location, everything's working amazingly, then it's the greatest thing ever.
When you accidentally turn on the shower and soak all of the wardrobe in there, that's a low point.
Or something breaks, or you get the vehicle wedged somewhere or something, then the low points are sort of counteract the stuff. So if you're thinking about doing it, then just look into it, and if you think it's going to work, then go for it.
Yeah, I think moving out of a house had its own logistics as well, because it was also because our entire house contents isn't in the van, so we were sort of umming and ahhing whether to actually get storage somewhere centrally in the UK, so then we could always go back to it as a base to pick up stuff. And because we've got winter gear as well, and ice axes and extra crampons and this, that and the other, and camping equipment and things, but they don't travel with us, so we sort of split it up between family members in the end. We've all got garage space, so yeah, our stuff is spread quite around the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun. Having a good support network definitely helps.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think your life kind of at the moment, the lifestyle, it's kind of that quintessential climbing lifestyle that you have in your head, where kind of traveling around and doing a lot of climbing. And what I'm kind of wondering is, I think when you kind of go back and look at documentaries, for example, of people back in the day who are doing this kind of thing, it seemed quite a carefree thing, and weren't necessarily thinking about the future in a way. It was kind of something that they were doing kind of as long as it lasts. But how does it work for you guys with that? Is there kind of a long-term plan? Are you doing it for now because it works, or is there how does that fit?
I think a bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, we're not at that the lifestyle that you're referring to of the historic, they were fresh out of school or fresh out of university age, and they had no responsibilities. They weren't married. They didn't have, I don't know, whatnots or mortgages to look at.
So I mean,
we've gone through various stages in life already, to the point where this is not, I suppose, quite like that dirtbag lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, we said from the start, if we were going to do it, that we wanted to do it fairly comfortable. We were willing to make sacrifices and things, but we wanted to have heating in the van, and we wanted to have a shower in the van, and we weren't just going to full dirtbag rough it. Yeah.
I mean, futuristically, I don't. Well, no idea how long it's going to last.
Yeah,
I guess as long as it can. I suppose.
As long as it can. I mean, it's working right now, and we're doing everything we can to try and make it a sustainable lifestyle for us.
I suppose the ultimate dream is to get completely financially self-sufficient through, we'd love to be self-sufficient through YouTube alone, to earn enough money to then fully commit to just traveling and YouTube, and sort of have that takeover from the freelance, client-based work. And that would give us the freedom to move all around the world, not just Europe. But you kind of got to give YouTube enough time to grow enough to see whether that's working, and then I suppose it's at what point do you realize it is or isn't working. I guess will be the crunch time.
Yeah, because alongside this, you guys also do kind of mountain instructing and climbing instructing. Is that right?
Yeah.
So how does that fit into it? Yeah.
That actually provides the bulk of our income is running climbing courses, either for ourselves or freelancing for other companies, other people running courses. And then we do little bits of route setting at climbing walls, or whatever we can to sort of earn money by the side. Is the YouTube doesn't really pay anything right now.
I mean,
hopefully in the future.
We don't earn a lot of money, but we don't need a lot of money.
We don't spend a lot of money.
Have you found that doing YouTube has helped kind of get your name out there a bit more for those kind of jobs at all?
Weirdly enough, yes, I'd say.
A little bit,
so,
a little bit. I think it's helped. I think people would like to book a course kind of knowing almost knowing the person, knowing the face of the person they're booking the course with. Like when we first spoke to you, you said, "Oh, you felt like you already knew us."
Yeah.
So I think that helps some people do stuff, but
I don't think people realise a lot through the YouTube that we can run a course for them, I suppose. So it's only actually relatively new that we've actually had people approach us via the YouTube or said, "Oh, we've watched you on YouTube. Can we have a climbing course?" So they were like the company, the climbing company and the YouTube were a little bit separate to start with.
Yeah.
But yeah, seem to be slowly merging into one.
Yeah, if it helps.
Yeah.
What is it about climbing that made you guys kind of commit so heavily to it? What is it about climbing for you that keeps you coming back?
I think I just find it such a varied sport, particularly because we do all the different disciplines within climbing. So we do bouldering, we do sport climbing, trad climbing, indoor climbing, outdoor climbing. So it's always varied, and there always seems to be a new challenge to kind of work towards. Or I'll go climbing somewhere and inevitably come away with a new project that I just really want to get done. So I have to go away and practice or get stronger or better or do stuff. And it just takes you to the most amazing places as well, I think.
I think it's sort of quite all-consuming because it's very physical challenge, but also a mental challenge as well. Just the nature of figuring out a move or like a problem or something. But then there's all the other side of it, is like tweaking your diet to sort of maximize your climbing, or the way you live. How does that impact on the climbing, I guess. So yeah, I don't know, it just seems to be quite a draw to it, because there's so many different aspects of it.
Yeah,
they're quite interesting.
Yeah, I've had lots of bad days climbing, but I've never had a boring day climbing, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
Had days where I wish I'd chosen something else.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun.
I think it's addictive in some ways. You sort of incrementally get better, and then you want to do a bit more and get even better, and it just continues because you're never going to be the best. So you're continually trying to get better and better. But I think, like, as a beginner, you can quickly see gains, so it draws you in very rapidly because you feel like you're accomplishing something rather than having to master some elite sport straight out.
Last question now. What are your kind of current aims and goals with climbing? What are you guys working towards at the moment?
Do you want to go first?
I can go first if you want. So sort of long-term goal is to try and get up to 8A, both bouldering and sport climbing. So I think it's going to take a little bit more work, particularly lockdown has definitely slowed progress somewhat on that.
We've made serious gains in some of the training.
Yeah, my fingers are stronger. It's just everything else that's forgotten how to climb. But that's kind of my goal right now.
I think our goals are very similar. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Like climbing 8A, climb 8A. If I climb one, I probably won't be satisfied with one. So I'd want to sort of set out to establish at that grade, I guess. So 8A boulder, 8A sport. But I'm quite way off that.
So that's the goal. But it'll be a fun journey whether we get there or not.
Yeah, or old age hits us before then.
Probably. But I mean that's just the latest goal.
I'm sure there'll be another goal.
There'll be another goal somewhere else or something. But
Yeah, I guess it's the thing, like you were saying, Sophie. There's always kind of like little steps. There's always another goal. You kind of work something out, and then you've got a new target, a new aim. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's it. We don't really have many competition goals or even many trad goals. I mean, we do trad climbing, but it's not.
It's
We're,
scary.
we're less willing to push ourselves, I think, on our trad climbing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, see how long it takes.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed for you. Hopefully it's soon.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna need.
Yeah.